All right, so good morning, and let's get started. And we will come down onto our mat, onto the floor. And we'll do the block under the sacrum just sort of as a default. But if you feel like doing something a little different for the first few minutes, go ahead. All right, so you could do block under the shoulders. You could just be here melting into the floor. You could do our Supta Baddha Konasana. Maybe somehow you can do everything. I don't know. All right, so block under the sacrum for those who don't want to make decisions. And sliding those legs out to straight. Pushing the hands on the block near your waist. And a couple deep breaths, maybe breathing out the mouth, which is a good releasing sort of a breath. And eventually arriving in your shape, in your place for the next minute or two. And balancing out the effort and ease for yourself in this moment. Maybe you want to work a little more, cooperating with the block, stretching over that block. Maybe you need to be a little bit softer. And then feeling that breath moving through the body. How does it feel to breathe in this shape? How does it feel to breathe into the back of the body here? I always talk about the sides and back of the body when we're doing a forward bend. But can you find that here with a little arch in the back, or perhaps you're lying flat on the floor? And we'll take a few more breaths here. And then let's bend the knees, lifting up off that block, taking it out, rolling down, vertebrae by vertebrae, landing on the floor. Deep breath melting into the floor for a moment, and then we will come up in that bridge pose, tucking the tailbone up, taking your time, really feeling each moment. Maybe making a little mental note to yourself to remember this bridge pose action of those hip bones pulling up, tailbone, lower back, sacrum going down toward the knees, for when we get to the warrior one. And lifting up any amount in that bridge pose. Once again, maybe seeing if you can feel that breath expand side and back here. Couple more breaths here. And then rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae, landing on the floor, melting into the floor again. And then let's give the knees a little pull in, knees to the nose, squeezing in. And then let's go out to happy baby for a few moments, getting a little bit of out for those inner thighs. You want to rock side to side, pulling the knees down, go ahead. Or any other sort of variation here. Maybe those hamstrings are ready for a little leg straightening. Couple more breaths, exploring the happy baby. And then we will finish with that, bringing those legs back in, making your way up to sitting. And sitting in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. Using the arms alongside, lengthening up. Getting space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. And letting the hands rest on the knees. Big inhale and exhale. Softening or closing the eyes. And finding that long and spacious spine. And just noticing how it feels this morning, today, to have that long and spacious spine. Sometimes it kind of comes easily. Just everything seems to stack up and balance. Other times, it's kind of one of those slumpy days. So you realize you have to make a little more conscientious effort to draw those abdominal muscles in and up, a little draw down and back with the upper back and shoulder blades. Just seeing where you are at this moment. And then we will reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Breathing those arms up, taking up lots of space. And then breathing them down. And then coming up once again. And we'll do the cactus pull, pulling those elbows down, pressing the backs of the arms back. Try not to splat the ribs too much forward. And then we'll squeeze the elbows. And you can let yourself round back a little. And try to get the elbows all the way into touch. And then expanding back out to the cactus. And reaching up. And we'll do that twice more. Cactus arms. Round, so it feels like bad yoga. Your shoulders will come up a little bit, the upper chest will close, the chin will go down, and expand open again, and lift, and then once more, reaching wide, cactus, rounding in, pulling those shoulder blades apart, stretching across the upper back, and then pressing out, reaching up, and then a big reach down. Changing the cross of the legs. And we will come forward, pouring over. Here we are, breathing into the back of the body. So maybe here the challenge is to breathe into the front of the body a little more. And then we'll finish here, coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae, back up on top of the sitting bones, taking a few breaths. And let's come around and onto all fours. And finding that neutral spine, pressing up against the ceiling, placing the hands like downward facing dog or the plank, trying not to sag. And if in doubt, round up a little so you're engaging with the core, long and flat on the front of the body, as well as long and flat along the back on the ceiling. And then let's extend that left leg back with the toes tucked under, pressing back into the left heel, pulling up in the core. Long line from the top of the head out the left heel. And then lifting that left leg up. Keep it low so that you stay very flat, even if that left leg is on a diagonal back there. And then we'll reach a little longer. Reach through the toes, pull the upper chest forward and up. So now we have a little bit more swoop and reach and a little feeling of arch, kind of like suspended Salavasana up here. Holding up with the back of that left leg, next step, bending the left leg, a little dog at the high fire hydrant like. And you can just keep both hands on the floor, or you can take that right hand to the left ankle. And then we'll swing that knee through to the nose. Open those abdominal muscles really round. And then setting the left leg down, same thing with the right. Strong spine against the ceiling, extend the right leg back, toes tucked under, pressing back into the right heel. And then lifting the right leg up, not too high, feeling very long and flat. And then reaching a little longer, reach through the right toes, pull the collarbones forward and up, kind of like a Salavasana locust pose up there on our left knee. And next, bending that right leg, a little opening of the right hip, dog at the high fire hydrant like. And then next option is taking that left arm up to the right ankle. And then we'll let that go, swinging the knee to the nose, really round up. And setting that right leg down. Let's take a pull back in child's pose, slowly unpeeling your hands, settling back. And then we'll expand up in downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Maybe a little dog walking or anything else. So, in downward facing dog, there's two large ways of thinking about it with the spine. One of them is looking for that straight spine, a little pull up of the belly and the ribs, lengthening it out, doing your best to make a straight line from the hands and the top of the head up to the sitting bones. And then there's the one where you're trying to get your upper chest down toward the floor and to extend out a little bit or maybe a lot. So it's not, you don't want it to be a sag down, but it's a little bit more length on the front of the body, almost like you're trying to do a front body yawn here. So there's those two versions. Just in case you ever noticed the difference there and what people were doing and wondered which was correct, they're both correct. They're just different. All right, let's look between the hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave back, halfway up. Pull those collarbones a little more forward again. Done this action a couple times. And then pouring over, releasing the top of the head to the floor. A couple breaths here in the forward bend. And then coming up to standing. Big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down. All right, so we're going to do similar to Monday. So here we are, standing in Tadasana. You can have the arms alongside or maybe in Namaste. Taking a couple breaths here. And then making our way over. Big inhale up. And exhale, diving over. Concave back, halfway up, folding over. So we'll step back with the right leg. So we're doing lead with the right leg. We have our left leg in front, and we bring the right knee down, coming up in Jayasana. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And then we'll side bend to the left, bringing those arms down, bringing the right arm up and over. Maybe a block under that left hand, maybe the left hand on your right leg. And press a little down into the tailbone. Pull that right shoulder back. Then a big reach around with the right arm, coming to Namaste for a moment, pulling everything back into the center, and then Namaste, hands into the floor. Stepping back to the plank. Let's hold our plank long and flat against the ceiling. And then we'll Asana Namaskar, knees, chest, chin, or any other means to the floor. Knees down, big arch in the back, a little bend in the elbows, upper chest forward and down. Pausing there, see if you can pull those sitting bones up a little more. Sliding out to the small cobra. And lengthening down. Two more small cobras there. Elbows back, top of the head forward. And coming down once more. And then peeling yourself back up to downward facing dog. Maybe a couple ripples along the way. And we'll lift the right leg up. Reaching long through the heel and through to the lunge. And now we're in our right lunge, bringing the left knee down for Jayasana. Coming up. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And then bringing the arms down, we'll side bend to the right. Maybe fingertips on the floor, so the left arm's coming up. Maybe the hand on that right thigh. Pressing a little more down into that tailbone, pulling that left shoulder a little bit back. Then a big reach around with the left arm coming into Namaste in front, strong into the center. And Namaste into the floor. Straightening up that left leg, stepping forward. Into the concave back, folding over. And then we're going to step back with our right leg again and turn to the elephant rider. So, sorry about the angle here, but I think it's probably easier if I just stay facing this way. And so we're in the elephant rider here, pressing out those inner thighs, feet on the diagonal, maybe a little squinging in the hips. And then let's just straighten the legs, tipping over into the forward bend, holding this outer rotation for a few breaths. And then pressing those heels out, wide leg forward bend, parallel legs. You can keep your hands on the floor, maybe holding the ankles, giving a gentle pull down. And pivoting back to the left lunge. Stepping forward into the concave back, halfway up, folding over, coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Arms down, either just alongside or maybe continuing around to that namaste in front. 3 breaths here. And we'll do that leading with the left. Big inhale up and exhale, diving over. Concave back, folding over, stepping back with the left leg. So now we have the right lunge, bringing that left knee down, coming up in Jayasana. And then bringing the arms down, side bend to the right, the left arm comes up. Big reach around to namaste in front. And namaste into the floor. Straighten up that left leg. Stepping back to the plank. Let's hold this plank a few breaths. So we're going to make our way to the floor. This time, let's try to go from chaturanga or kneeling chaturanga or any knees that you want. And we'll all be on the floor, on our belly in the small cobra, pulling the elbows back, reaching forward with the collarbones, and then lowering down. Elbows back, long through the top of the head. Twice more. Really trying to use the upper back muscles. Could you take the hands off or lighten them up? And then we'll finish with that. Healing ourselves back to downward facing dog. And we'll lift the left leg up, reaching along through that heel. Through to the lunge. And bringing the right knee down. And Jayasana with our left leg in front now. Bringing the arms down, side bending to the left, right arm comes up and over. And then a big reach around, coming to Namaste in front. And Namaste into the floor, straightening up that right leg, stepping forward. Into the concave back, halfway up, folding over. And we will step back with the left leg again, turning to the elephant rider. Pressing those knees out. And then this time we will come up to standing. Pressing the feet into the floor, coming up to that three-pointed star. Rotating the thigh bones into the hip sockets. And then just press the arms wide to parallel, turning those feet to parallel. So let's do the left side first, just because we were leading with the left. Let's keep leading with the left. So rotate the left leg out 90 degrees. So we're doing both sides, so it won't really matter. And into the warrior two. So we're facing the back of the mat in the warrior two. And then dancing warrior, bringing that left arm up, big side bend up and over, and then take the right arm and curve it under. And so it doesn't really make a perfect circle there, curving over and under the yin-yang arms, but think of it as if it is. And the center is kind of at your belly button, or maybe just above, right where there's that little V between the ribs. And we'll breathe here, up and over, down and under. And then a big inhale and exhale, just coming right out, straightening the left leg, pulling the arms wide, turning that left foot back to parallel. And we'll rotate the right leg out 90 degrees. And into the warrior two on the right. Taking a few breaths, settling in here. Make sure that knee tracks over the foot. And then dancing warrior, right arm comes up, up and over. Left arm scoops down and under the yin-yang arms. Feeling like you're making a big circle, swirling through those fingertips. And the center is kind of maybe a little higher than the belly button there. Just feel where it is for you. And breathing here. One more deep breath here. And then inhale and exhale, straightening the right leg, straighten out those arms, turning the feet to parallel. And then take a big circle front to back with the shoulders, interlocking the fingers behind, lengthen to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming over, pressing out through the hands, hinging. And then releasing the hands into the floor. We'll take a couple more breaths here in our forward bend. And then turn into our right lunge back toward the front of the mat and stepping forward into the concave back, halfway up, folding over, coming up to standing, big front body yawn, pressing the arms down around to namaste. Taking 3 breaths here. And let's go to Utkatasana. So we'll do the ripply way there. So big lift up into the front body yawn. Bend the knees, arch in the back, reach the arms behind. As they come through, take a little tuck. And then reach out long and flat. So just like in downward facing dog, there's kind of 2 versions of the Utkatasana. There's one where you are trying to arch up and stick your butt out and be a little more vertical through the arms, even though you have that arch and bend. And there's one that's more flat. Usually I use the more flat one. All right, here we are, Utkatasana. Then twist to the right. Nice wide arms, pulling fingertip to fingertip, lengthening through the top of the head. And a big reach around with the right arm back to the center. Let's twist to the left. Holding wide, long through the top of the head. And then bringing that left arm around back to the center. And releasing over. Concave back, folding over. Let's step back with the right leg. And we're in our left lunge. This time we'll come up in either the high lunge or the warrior one. I think I'm going to use the warrior one today, grounding that right foot down, turning the heel in, and then coming up in the front to back lunge of your choice. And then maybe thinking about that bridge pose. A little drop down and tuck action, a little draw up with the abdominal muscles. And then we'll twist to the left arms parallel to the floor. Pulling fingertip to fingertip. If you feel up for one more swirl before we put our right hand to the floor, you can lift the right hand up and take the left to the back of that right leg for a moment. Not quite yin yang, but a little bit. And then windmilling down, putting that right hand down. If you're in the warrior one, turn your right heel up, squaring off that back leg. And then bringing the left arm down, we'll pull that right leg forward and under the left, sitting in Matsyendrasana. And then let's take a big reach forward with the left arm, reaching it up, twisting to the left. Maybe just holding the left leg with your right arm, or you can bring that right arm across. And then back to the center, and then we'll twist to the right, to untwist ourselves into the wide leg forward bend. Curling that right foot to the back of the mat. And then lengthening out, and we'll twist to the right. So that would be to the back of the mat, lifting that right arm up. So now we're twisting the other way than what we've just been doing. And maybe a little bend in the left knee. Try not to let the left arch of the foot collapse. Maybe you can pull that left shoulder down a little more, even while that right side is trying to pull up. And then a big inhale and exhale. Right arm comes down, left leg straightens. Pause a moment in the center. And then turning back to our left lunge, and we will continue onward, stepping back to the plank through the vinyasa, any version, and then downward facing dog. And we'll lift the right leg up, reaching long through the heel. Through to the lunge. And then we're coming up in either the high lunge or, my choice for today, the warrior number 1. Maybe doing that bridge pose action, a little tailbone down and forward, hip bones and belly coming up. And then we'll twist to the right, reaching fingertip to fingertip, pulling back with that right arm, a little forward with the left, but just like I say in Warrior 2 sometimes, it's really that right inner knee and the right arm pulling against each other more than the left arm here. And if you want to add a little thing before we bring our left hand to the floor, bringing the left arm up and the right hand to the back of the left leg. A little swirl that has a kind of circular action. And then windmilling down, left hand to the floor. If you're in the Warrior 1, turning your left heel up, squaring that left leg off, twisting right. Big reach back with that right arm. And then that Andrasana. Pulling the left knee forward, sitting down. Ah. All right, here we are, right leg crossed over. Let's reach forward with the right arm. Big reach up overhead, twisting right, bringing that right arm down to the floor, holding your right leg, or maybe taking that left arm across. Maybe take a moment to check in with your breath. And then back to the center. We'll make our way around to the wide leg forward bend, reaching around to the left, getting yourself up. Left leg goes toward the back of the mat, and we're in the wide leg forward bend. And lengthen up, twisting to the left toward the back of the mat, pulling that left arm up. And then maybe bending the right knee. So try not to let that right leg collapse in. There's a little press out from the right outer thigh and knee. Trying to keep the arch of the right foot up. And then maybe you can pull that right shoulder down a little more, even as you reach up a little more through the left arm. And then coming back to the center. Turning to the right lunge, the front of our mat. And stepping forward into the concave back, folding over. And then once again, stepping back with the right leg. So I am going to turn around this time. Stepping back with the right leg and taking a moment in that elephant rider. Calming up, bringing those arms up overhead. Three-pointed star, wide arms, parallel feet. Taking a few breaths. So if you want to let the arms come down, you can do that. Finding a little bit of ease, letting go of any tension or holding in the face. All right, and there's those arms out. So we're going to eagle pose. So let's see, I won't be the mirror, but it's not going to matter. Bringing the right arm under. Breathing between those shoulder blades. Reaching up through the fingertips. And then pulling the elbows down to pull yourself over, squeezing those elbows a little up and in. Release the arms. Take a breath. Coming back up to standing, a little front body yawn. Pressing the arms wide, left arm comes under. Reaching up through the fingertips. Pulling the elbows in, coming over. Releasing the arms. Another breath or two here in the floor. So I'm going to turn around again so I stay at the same orientation. And then we'll turn back to our left lunge, the front of the mat. And stepping forward into the concave back, folding over, taking a few breaths here. Maybe bending the knees, making it like a little standing child's pose. And then coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And arms down or namaste in front. 3 deep breaths here. All right, let's ripple our way to Utkatasana. Big front body yawn up, bend the knees, reaching the arms around, a little scoop under, and sitting into the chair pose. So, option number 1, just hold the chair and simplify, or taking a brief twist left and right. Twisting left, and back to the front, twisting right. And back to the front, and pouring over, straightening the legs. So even as we continue here, feel free to simplify if you're getting a little weary. We already did the right to the left, or the left to the right, as it were. So you don't necessarily need to do the whole thing. As we step back with the right leg. Step back with the left leg. All right, stepping back with the left leg, right leg front. Warrior one or high lunge, coming up. Tilting that pelvis up as vertical as it will go. Twisting to the right, reaching wide. And then maybe lifting the left arm up, right hand to the left leg, a little circular swirl. And left hand to the floor, bringing that left heel up if you are in the warrior one. Reaching back with the right arm, pulling that left knee forward in Matsyendrasana. Deep breath. Reaching forward with the right arm, up and over into the twist. So I'm going to simplify here and not put my left arm over. Back to the center. Turning to the left, getting that left leg out into the wide leg forward bend. So you can just hold this wide leg forward bend if you want to simplify, or continuing twisting to the left toward the back of the mat. And maybe a bend to the right knee, sinking the right shoulder down. And bringing the left arm down in the center again a moment. Turning back to the right lunge, and then we will continue. Stepping back to the plank, vinyasa, downward facing dog. And we'll lift our left leg up. Through to the lunge. And warrior one or the high lunge. Getting that pelvis as vertical as it will go. Twisting to the left, wide arms. Maybe right arm up, left arm down, swirling. And then windmilling down to the lunge, turning that right heel up if you are in the warrior one. And a big reach around with the left arm, pulling the right knee forward, Matsyendrasana. It's always time for a deep breath. And then we'll reach forward with the left arm, coming up and over, twisting left. If you want to put that right arm over, go ahead. And coming back to the center, twisting around to the right to untwist yourself, and right leg to the back of the mat. And either you could stay in the forward bend, or if you twist to the left, you should twist to the right here, toward the back of the mat, right arm up. Maybe a little bend in the left leg, holding that left shoulder lower. Back to the center. Turning back to the left lunge toward the front of the mat, stepping forward. Into the concave back. Folding over. Take a couple breaths here. Maybe with a little bend in the knees, making it more easeful, releasing that back a little more. And then we'll step back with the left leg again, turning to the elephant rider. Pressing those knees out. And up we come to standing. Big lift up. Pressing the arms down, turning the feet to parallel. 3 deep breaths here. You can keep the arms up or bring them down. And let's go to the left first. Turning that left leg out 90 degrees into the warrior number 2. And then to our yin-yang arms. Left arm up, right arm curves under. Big circle around. And then we're going to the triangle. Inhale and exhale. Everything swirls the other way, but then it stops in straight lines in the body. But that doesn't mean energy isn't still swirling around. In our human body here, we talk about straight lines. There really aren't any straight lines. All right, let's see if we can go back to the yin-yang warrior 2. Bending the left knee, reach with the right arm, and then the left arm comes up, the right arm continues and swirls under. And straighten the left leg, straighten the arms, feet to parallel. Deep breath. All right, one more side to go. Kind of out of time, but oh well, here we are. Turning the right leg out 90 degrees into the warrior 2. This is obviously an hour and 15 minutes long class I had in mind. Taking a few breaths in the warrior 2, but we'll expand time with focus and deep, easeful breaths. And then bringing that right arm up, swirling the left arm under the yin-yang arms. And then to the triangle. Inhale and exhale, tilting over. Everything swirls around the other direction. And we stop in lines, but we still keep going. All right, and let's go back to our yin-yang warrior 2, bending the right knee, reaching with that left arm, swirling up and around. Couple more breaths. And then straighten up that right leg, straighten out the arms, turn the feet to parallel. Bringing those arms down, circle front to the back, maybe more than one if you want, and we'll eventually interlock those fingers. Lengthen up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming over, pressing out through the hands. And release the hands. Turning back to our right lunge. And we will step forward into the concave back, folding over. Deep breath here in our straight leg forward bend. Soften the knees a little. Take a deep breath here. And then sitting bones sink a little lower. And then coming down to the floor. So we'll go a little bit over. If you need to finish on time, please do. But we do have a couple minutes for a Shavasana, even if you can't stay a little past 9:30. So making your way to the floor. If you've only got a minute or two left, going right to Shavasana. If you have a little more time, let's return to that bridge pose. Maybe starting with the block under the sacrum again. So if you're doing that, we could try the high block. And holding here, maybe with the knees bent, or you want to try the legs straight, even if it's not quite as perfect and extended. Just see what happens. And then maybe you want to stay here with the supported bridge pose with straight legs. Otherwise, continuing to the bridge pose, bending the knees in again, tucking that tailbone up, lifting off or lightening up on the block. Maybe interlocking the fingers underneath. Can you find that big circular breath expanding the sides and the back? Spherical breath. And then we'll finish making your way down to the floor. Letting yourself land there. Take a moment, letting everything arrive here in this landing position. Maybe noticing how it does take a few moments, even once you've touched the floor, for things to let go, to settle in. And then we will slide those legs out to straight. Choosing your arm position. Closing the eyes. Inhale and exhale, letting go of all effort, just sinking into the floor. And then if you have even longer, please continue to stay even longer here in Shavasana. But if you need to move on into the day, moving the fingers and toes, circling the wrists and ankles, stretching the arms up overhead. Bending the knees. And gently making your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with that long and spacious spine. Taking a few more moments sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming. So we stop the recording.